Hello and welcome to the Script Supervisor Power Hour. Am I live on Instagram? I just want to do a quick check to make sure I am before we go full throttle here. Let's see. Can anyone confirm if I'm live on Instagram? It's not showing me as live on Instagram. So I'm just going to add the stream and then we'll officially begin. Thank you so much for joining me. It says I've got two people with me. It says we're having trouble streaming to Instagram. So I'm going to do that a little separately. Just give me 1 second. Hello, LinkedIn. Hello, YouTube. There's like a light right over my head. Hold on. By the way, I'm streaming live today from my co-working space. It's a little echoey. I'm here at the East Room in Toronto, which I absolutely love. I'm a member of multiple co-working spaces, but I absolutely love East Room. Sorry, hair in my mouth. Yes, you get to see all the preamble on YouTube. Okay, let's see if we can do this. Let's pick a semi-flattering filter on Instagram. I don't know. No, some of these are crazy. Okay, guys, bear with me. Here we go. All right, guys, I'm going to go live on Insta separately on my phone, and hopefully the phone doesn't fall down. Hello, Instagram. Welcome to the Script Supervisor Power Hour. We were having technical difficulties on my StreamYard, and now we will officially begin. Hopefully, I'll be able to see your questions on both. Let me just go to the comments. Do say hello if you're here with me live. Show comments on stage. See, whatever you type is going to go live on my screen. So hi, Miguel. I see you here on Instagram. So for those who don't know me, I am Daniela Saioni. I am a script supervisor and a script supervision coach with students in 30 countries and counting. And I love my job. And I also love, hi from Spain. Oh my God. Hi, Miguel. Hi, Karen. If you guys didn't see last week, I was lucky enough to interview Don Gilliam, who is another script supervision coach and veteran script supervisor. And if you haven't seen that interview yet, it's on my YouTube channel in the Veteran Film Crew series playlist. If you want to find out more about the film industry, if you're new to the industry, I interview a whole bunch of very interesting people, including my friend Scotty Phillips and his lighting board operator, Desiree. They were the team behind Pachinko Season 2, and they're up for an Emmy. Cinematographer is up for an Emmy, which they greatly contributed to. So congratulations to them, and congratulations to all the script supervisors, whether you're in my program or not, who are on Emmy-winning shows. Hey, Eddie. Oh, yes, it is evening in the UK, isn't it? Oh, my goodness. Eddie's one of my newest. I'm so excited for him. If you guys don't know, I do these live in-person meetups in the various cities I go to. And I like to go to London 3 times a year. And I went, oh my God, Eddie, when was it? It was recently, right? It's all a blur. Oh, it was June. It was June. And I got to meet him there. Oh, hi, Alexia. We've got New Zealand in the house. We've got the UK and LA in the house. Before I start today, I want to do a vibe check. How is everybody doing? Do you have, yes, it was the beginning of June, Eddie. Yes, and that was so nice. I raced back to Toronto. If you don't know, Toronto is all hands on deck right now. We're jam-packed with union work. The non-union work is still building. It is building pretty quickly, but the union work is what's sort of taken over the city right now. And I'm on hi, Lisa. I'm on oh my God, Atlanta's in the house. Love this. It is really intense. For those who don't know, I mean, if you're brand new to me, you're not going to know. My mother is very, very ill. She's in the last few months of her life. So I want to give her some attention as well. Of course, I have been, but so I'm going to take a couple of episodes off. Luckily, one of the top script supervisors in the world is back in Toronto. She's my friend Shane Scott. So I got her to cover for me on 2 episodes of this miniseries. Thank you, Shane. She makes it possible for me to do this wonderful miniseries. I couldn't be happier on any show, believe me. As you guys know, those who are my students know, I choose scripts. I choose projects by the quality of the script, which I think has been one of the ways my career has, my career escalated quickly. Alexia is actively looking for work in New Zealand. Lots of love to you and your mom. Oh, thank you. Yes, I heard Australia is much busier than New Zealand right now. I hope that shifts back to how it used to be, because New Zealand, that Australia and New Zealand are busy, because New Zealand is a huge epicenter for film. We have co-productions with New Zealand and Canada often. So I hope that you get something. Now, I know I have been promising you guys the new mini course. I have been swallowed up by both the show I'm on, which is called Vladimir. It's a Netflix mini limited series. That's the word. And on weekends, I've been really spending time with my mom at the hospital. She's in the hospital. So it's been overwhelming. But I did take 2 episodes off. So hopefully I can catch up. For those who don't know, I'm putting together a mini course on how to find jobs locally, nationally, and internationally, because that's sort of one of the things I specialize in, helping connect people with work and just giving people strategies to find work and to move to the next level of their career. So I'm so glad. I didn't get any questions in advance except one. During my interview with Don Gilliam, someone named Molly, I think you said you're in 871, which is Los Angeles. Molly was saying, how do you go up? Like, how do you go up from, and Molly, I still wasn't clear if you were union or non-union. There are different levels of breakthrough in a script career. I believe I've identified like 5 of them, if you include retirement, which I do include that as one of the 5 levels of breakthrough, is retiring with grace. But I did a whole video about it last year called Breakthrough to the Next Level of Your Career and Enjoy It. If you look on my YouTube channel, it was one of the Script Supervisor Power Hours last year. Oh, hi, Paulina. There you go. You're 871 and 488. Is 488 Albuquerque? I don't know all the local numbers off by heart. Or is it Montana? I can't remember what local 488 is, but okay. So you're a member of multiple union locals. And so Molly's, and this is a breakthrough level, because one of the breakthrough levels is like getting that first feature, right? So getting that first feature, usually it would be non-union. Alexia has already done that. Molly's already in the union. The next level is like getting in the union, and then it's getting to A-list projects. Once you're in the union, are you getting like, and A-list, listen, I know sometimes people mock me for using that term. A-list is what it means to you, right? So for some, there's a literal A-list where you're working with internationally renowned directors that do A-list projects that have been #1 hits. That's me. And that's a lot of my friends, and it's some of my students. I'm very, very proud when people, but A-list, Washington, Oregon, and Montana. I thought so. That was it. Okay, good. My second guess was right. And are you based in, it's great to be a member of both those locals, because Montana has been picking up, or Washington, Oregon, but more so Montana has been picking up. I have one student in Montana, but I have friends in Montana. So that's great, Molly. So yes, so Molly's question was like, at that breakthrough level when you're in the union, but you want to go up to the A-list project. So A-list means different things to different people. Some people don't want to do TV series, and they don't include like high-end TV in that, but high-end TV is certainly something that most people would consider A-list. Some people consider that like the blockbuster features, and some people don't. They just consider it art features that get like Oscar nominations, right? There's that kind of A-list. Whatever A-list means to you is what I mean by that breakthrough level. And then the 4th level is if you want to move on to directing or producing from script supervision, or like me, if you're a screenwriter, that could be the next level of breakthrough. And then the 5th level of breakthrough is like retiring with grace and with success and everything. So those are the levels of breakthrough I tend to focus on with my students and with my coaching when people work with me privately. I did tell Molly that once a year I have an A-listers coaching program. We did our first pilot year last year, and I'm really, really happy with the results. So everyone, I won't go into it, like it's very personal. Every single, I only take up to 20 people in that program. We had 9 actually because someone joined at the last minute in our pilot version of that. And everyone's goals were very different. Some people want to be showrunners. Some people wanted to work in different countries. Some people's goal was just to get into the union. Everyone had a different goal, and that whole program is about goal setting. I'm going to talk more about it later in the year because it opens up in November. You have to do a qualifying interview. I had to say no to some people because they just weren't at one of the breakthrough levels yet, but now some of the people from last year are who wanted to, and they are at the breakthrough level. So maybe some of them will be in this cohort. But anyway, let's get into Molly's question because it does affect a lot of people in my student base as well as in the audience in general. And that is, you're in the union now. How do you go from those, like initially when you get in a union, it's most common to do like daily gigs, right? Like where you go and cover for someone and you're slowly kind of meeting different showrunners, different crews. And I can tell you, like now I'm a lot less, I take dailies like a lot less now because I'm older. But when I started, one of the ways that I really got in with bigger and bigger producers was actually taking dailies. So daily calls, don't poo-poo them. I don't think you do poo-poo them, Molly, but there are some people who are like, I don't do dailies, or they get frustrated with that. There's almost no better way to meet a big variety of producers and directors. I have made my biggest inroads. Now, I made big inroads pretty early because of the thing I said in my interview with Dawn. So Dawn was saying, say yes to everything. And like that actually is a good mentality too at a certain point. But I sort of said the opposite, which was be discerning with the scripts you pick and make sure they are sort of in your wheelhouse in terms of what you want to do. But like Dawn said, you might not know what you want to do unless you try a whole bunch of different things. And taking daily calls, second unit, tandem unit, covering other people is a way to sort of get your feet wet without having to be stuck on a show for 3 months if you realize, oh, I don't like working on science fiction or I don't like working in horror, but you can actually at least try it, right? So for me, early on, as I mentioned in my interview with Dawn, and as I've said a bazillion times, like me saying yes to My Big Fat Greek Wedding versus another show, that was early on when I got into IATSE, because I was in a different union before IATSE called ACFC, the Association of Canadian Film Craftspeople. I was on the executive board that brought us over to IATSE. We all voted to join IATSE because Toronto at the time had three different unions. Can you believe that? Now we have two. It's still a lot because it can get somewhat competitive in terms of the pricing. It's not really great to have more than one union representing any craft. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Lisa. I mean, so yes, it's. It was an interesting time, but right when I got into the union, of course, I was at the bottom because I had less experience by decades than many of the people in the union. But I got up the food chain pretty quickly by luck in a way, because in that particular case, My Big Fat Greek Wedding was a low budget project that was paying significantly less. Like we have tiered projects and unions. So if you're offered a lower tier project as a union member, read the script and sort of go, okay, is this something that's going to be like, I didn't work on The Room, but The Room was one that our local did that was low budget. I can't remember who the script supervisor was. I think it was one of my newer students at the time. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. But anyway, sometimes those are the films that get Oscar buzz, that get Emmy attention or wins, right? So I would say try to read the scripts of as many films that you get called for. There's also some, and decide, like, if I'm going to work on a lower tier show or a show that people don't realize is the real hit of the season, because I think you got to get good at reading scripts. I know Dawn offered the opposite opinion, which is say yes to everything, meet everyone. That's also great advice. Like, listen, look at the career Dawn's had. It's been incredible. So I'm not poo-pooing that advice at all. That's also good advice. But I can just tell you from my own experience, early on, I was good at discerning scripts, and I would actually do a lot of research. So in the mini course that I'm going to offer, it hopefully in August, it'll be ready, which is called the Film Work Playbook. I changed the title of it The film work playbook is all about the techniques, old and new, that I use to get work or interviews for myself and my students. Some of you have done private coaching with me and I've gone through it, but it gets repetitive for me to explain it over and over, so that everyone will just be added to the Director Whisperer course dashboard, and all the current students will have access to it. And then people outside the program can also buy it. I'm going to have it at an introductory price of $97 US. So it's going to be, I think it's like going to be about 4 hours, 4 to 5 hour class. It's got even all my I have some new ways to find films, but basically we do the research, right? So, or at least I do the research. I don't necessarily wait to be called. In all my career, even though, as you guys know, I don't like to work all year. And it's not that I don't like to work all year. I like to work in script supervision for 6 months of the year so that I can spend the other 6 months writing, doing stand-up, which I don't do anymore, but I did for a significant chunk of my life. Now it's mostly writing, teaching. I teach all year round, but I can fully concentrate on teaching script supervisors, because the bulk of my course is pre-recorded. I'm going live once a week, but normally this would be what we do live in the class, but today we're doing it every once in a while. I like to do a public one so people outside the program can ask me questions as well if they want. But yeah, so it's not a heavy thing for me, but my writing courses, we develop scripts. It's very involved. So I like to at least focus half my year with more time for my writing students and my writing clients. So if that's me personally. So it's not like I even, with the amount of, once you get to a certain level, Molly, you're going to find you do a lot of dailies, and I have some great stories from other people who did a daily that changed their life. Hi, Nick. What do you look for in a good animated film script? Is there a preferred way of presenting it? So Nick, script supervisors, there's only a handful of script supervisors in the world who work in animation. So if you're tuning in as a writer, I just want you to know this is because I do train writers and I do lives for my writers. This is about script supervision. It's the Script Supervisor Power Hour. Script supervision is a different job, and it's a very different job in animation. I've actually never done script supervision for animation. There's about 5 script supervisors. Like if you look on the credits on South Park or The Simpsons or like your favorite animated show, there will be a script supervisor, but it's a whole different process. So if I hypothetically was one of those script supervisors, what would I look for in an animated script in terms of saying yes, in terms of it moving forward my career? Probably didn't make me laugh. Or like Up is one of my favorite animated scripts of all time. It made me cry like within the first 10 minutes. I'm not the only one. It was deep, man. So does it have, Nick, you can reach out to me. I'll post my email address. So the question is which course, because I have a whole bunch of courses. Just look on the link tree in my bio, and let me know if you mean writing or script supervision. But in terms of animation, in terms of any script, let me tell you what I look for. This is actually a good question in relation to the thing I was saying before, like what do you look for in a script if you're a script supervisor and you're choosing between multiple projects? It's not necessarily about what is paying the most, right? It shouldn't be about money, especially in the early. Yes, I understand people need to eat. I understand that part. So sometimes you take a show because you need to eat, you need to pay the rent. But at a certain point, especially when you're in a union, you're going to have multiple choices. And some of them might be higher paying and lower paying, even within the context of a union, which gives you guaranteed minimums in North America. I know in the UK, the unions work a bit differently, but there's different sort of pay grades for different projects, right? So if you only took into account the money, it's not necessarily going to be a career-making step for you to get into the A-list. I have a student in Budapest who was offered 3 scripts at once. She's in my A-listers. She was offered 3 scripts at once last year because Budapest is very busy. And she was weighing out all the options with me, like what would be my most strategic choice. And when someone asks me that, so you would ask yourself that, what is my goal? Is my goal to work on A-list series? Is my goal to be a director? Is my goal to be a producer? Is my goal to work on horror films? So if your goal is tied to a genre, so for me, I love comedy. I always want to work on as much comedy as possible. I'm also a comedy writer. So anything that puts me close to the best comedy writers in the business and directors is useful to me for my future. And I'm not like, I'm not pitching them or anything. It's not like that, but just putting yourself in the melee, in the milieu of like people at the top of their craft. So for me, working with Paul Feig on 2 movies was my like career like high, right? Career high so far. I've had others. I've had some big career highs, but working with Paul Feig on 2 movies, A Simple Favor and Another Simple Favor 2, made my, like, it just brought together all my worlds. My stand-up, he was a former stand-up. We talk about that a lot. Even as a comedy teacher, he was able to give me so many insights about what I had already gotten, sort of what I was already doing. It was very affirming because a lot of it was what he does to develop a script. And then I just get to be up close watching him direct, like on every single minute. Like there's nothing better for me. To someone else, that would be their nightmare. When I first met Paul, his line to me was, which is probably a true story. He said, I make script supervisors cry. And I laughed. And I slammed the table and said, bring it, because I know what he meant. Comedy is hard. It's hard. So it's not for everybody. I do have a little mini class called Script Supervising Comedy, Film and Television. And that it's like a 3-hour class just about comedy and all the ways that it's different. But it is different and it is harder, and you got to love it. You got to love comedy to really keep up, because we do a lot of alt jokes, a lot of script changes. There's a lot of, insight you have to have. Miguel says, I've been recommended to become a PA at a production house and then to become a script supervisor in the long run. What do you think of this? Well, Miguel, you may have seen my short. I have a short about this that says, don't start at a PA. Now you're in Spain, and it actually might be a very good idea. In North America, I would say don't, because PAs are unionized and they're paid very well. Like it's the set PAs, not the office PAs. In Toronto, we have the highest paid set PAs in the world. They make over 400 a day, I think. I think their baseline is 425. It's great. But it's not a direct route to script supervision. If you already know you want to script supervise, please train as a script supervisor, because your PA work will not help you become a script supervisor. It'll help you get the job, but it won't help you do the job, if you know what I mean. It's a very intense job. If as a PA, you will be assisting the script supervisor, because in Spain and most of Europe, there is a position called assistant script supervisor, then that's great, right? And I think in Spain, you guys tend to do lower budgets. So if you're a PA that is directly assisting the script supervisor, Miguel, I would say go for it. If assuming you want to be a script supervisor, if they're telling you you're going to be a script supervisor through the PA, then I would ask more questions like, am I going to be working on set? Because some PAs are never on set, and it's really, you'll see, I have these testimonial videos on my YouTube channel. It says, it's called Director Whisperers in Their Own Words. It's a playlist. And I had Nando Rueda. So Nando was like saying he was a PA and he hated it because they never got him close to set. Oh, you study in the UK. Okay. Are there Yes, there are assistant script supervisors in the UK. I have many alumni who either did that before or after they trained with me. It's very useful to do that. The problem is the days are very short. In the UK, they're long here, but they're very hectic. And in the UK, they're shorter. And I'm being told that they won't fully train you. The thing is, it's an excellent opportunity to be trained. It's just that they won't give you they can't explain everything to you. But if you can land an assistant script supervisor gig in the UK, so your PA gig is in the UK. I have a student named Ada Sakura, an alumna, who in the UK, who started as a runner. So in the UK, for those who don't know, a PA is called a runner. So, she was a runner on The Crown, and then she took the course and got some work as an assistant script supervisor after that, and of course rocked. But I got this call because she got a call to take over an HETV show, which I learned later just means high-end television. And I give my students references if they're asked of me. And so the producer of that show called and said, this Ada person, do you think she can handle HETV? And I didn't know what that meant, high-end television, but I kind of, I thought, what are they asking me? Because I know how well I train you guys, and I know like that Ada had already worked on The Crown as a runner. And I said, well, she was on The Crown. I think she'll be fine. And she did do that job, and she is doing a Marvel series. I think she's on Ada. If you're watching, you're like assisting on a big Marvel series. But she was going to take over a block for that. So she goes back and forth between full-on script supervision and assisting. But I think in the UK, you have that rare opportunity to be an assistant script supervisor. So I would actually take it. Like in Canada, it's a thing we're really fighting for. But between like in my career, between 1991 and 2001, I always had a trainee by my side on set, always, except for some of the union shows. But even on some of the union shows until 2001, it was completely normal to have a trainee on set. They weren't paid, unfortunately, in our department. The only department that had paid trainees was camera, because they had it in their contract. But at least I could bring people on set and train them firsthand. It was beneficial for all of us. They weren't allowed to actually work, but it gave me, we had a very small department back then, and it just allowed me, hi, Virginie, to bring people into the fold. Oh, no, thank you, Miguel. Miguel, if you have not seen on my YouTube playlist, please check it out. I do have strong opinions about not starting as a PA. In the UK, if you're a runner and if they promise you that it will lead to an assistant position, or if you're a runner on set as opposed to offset, I would say, okay, do consider that. Yes, definitely do consider that. Virginie, how's your movie going? Did you wrap? We have so many hallelujahs, by the way. I forgot to ask people if they had hallelujahs. So in my program every week, I ask people if you have any hallelujahs, and those are just small and big wins. So I've had a bunch of people, at least in the Toronto cohort, doing commercials, which is great. So commercials in Canada are not unionized, but they pay incredibly well. So I've had a lot of my non-union students just getting busy with commercials. I've had some of my union students doing huge shows. I don't know if she'll let me say it, but one of our union people in Toronto, she had a show, a really big show that's also going in Italy for a week. And originally they weren't going to bring her. And I had recommended a whole bunch of Italians who spoke fluent English in Rome, which is not an easy thing to get, but Italy is very busy right now. Anyway, her hallelujah was she's going to Italy to do her own Italian unit. She is Italian Canadian, but that's a hallelujah, I guess. I mean, I'd be excited about that. I was going to do her Italian unit if it was shooting in June when I was there. Virginie just finished a German movie in the UK. Virginie wrote, we wrapped last week. It was such a wonderful experience, although the director hardly ever spoke to me. Oh yes, this is what I want to talk to Molly about too. I want to continue, Molly, I'm going to keep answering your question. When the Instagram questions pop up, they disappear quickly, so I do tend to distract. Although the director hardly spoke to me and wouldn't let me talk to him much. So part of getting that forward momentum in your career is what I call being a director whisperer, which is what the focus of my training really is about, and understanding the director's role, becoming a valued member of their team to the point where they're the ones asking for you to come back and work with them on their next one and their next one, which is exactly what happened with Paul. I was so sad I couldn't go do The Housemaid. The Housemaid was his movie, his feature he just shot in New Jersey, because for obvious reasons, like they had to hire locally, and that's all cool. I was able to work on a different great film, but I totally missed him working with him. So yeah, sometimes they can't always get you the work permit if you're across the border, but if the director is the one like asking for you, like I had a student do a film in Arizona, and he was Canadian, and they permitted him. It was his first feature because the director specifically wanted him. When the director, this is the thing, when the director, and even though Don said yes to everything, really Like John Singleton asked for her back on Poetic Justice, right? It's always like, and J.J. Abrams asked for her back after Lost, and then I guess he did, what was it, Don? Was it Star Trek? So oh, hi, Patty. I see that you're tuned in, and Star Modoluna. I don't know who that is, but welcome. So yes, when you get to be a trusted member of the director's team. Listen, it just happened to me. I'm working with these A-list directors, their husband and wife, and the husband deals more with coverage and the wife deals more with directing the actors. They're both brilliant. They've been working together for decades. The husband, the director who works, with coverage and editing, turned to me and said, there is not one editing problem on this movie. And I was like, of course not. Like, he was just remarking because I kept going in and just like, I kept reminding him of transitions and all the stuff I teach you guys about, talking through sort of the coverage plan, if something is, and editing in your head. And I do have a video about editing in your head on my YouTube channel called How Script Supervisors Visualize the Edit, but like really getting, like, not being lazy about that. They said and not that I don't think most of you are lazy about that, actually. A lot of you are probably really good at that, but you have to get out there, take those daily calls, meet the directors, really make them see that you get it, that you understand what they're doing, and that you're going to get her done. You're gonna really inspire. I love how Dawn said it. We watch creativity in motion, right? She said she stayed in script supervision because she could witness the moment of creation, the creativity in motion. And it's so true. That comes out of those private conversations, those little, we don't like talk to the director all day long, but it's sad. That's why Virginie's saying she had a great time, even though the director hardly spoke to her. There are directors like that, and it's kind of their loss in many ways. But and I know Virginie knows how to. She has an excellent personality. She could easily have made that director feel like she was contributing and everything if he spoke to her. But some directors really don't want to hear from us, and then we just do our best. Someone, Virginie, noticed, I'm sure, what an excellent job you did, and they'll be the ones to bring you on the next, but possibly even this director. It's so funny. I had interviewed one of my OG students. One of my students from 20 years ago is Charles Jodoin Keaton, and he. I remember we didn't talk about that. I just interviewed him. Like, I haven't posted the edit yet. It was such a long interview, so I'm still cutting it. But Charles was telling me that when he moved to Paris, he worked with Julie Delpy on her first feature. And it was her first time directing, and she was really defensive, right? Like, not like, he didn't say it like that, but she was just like, no, that'll be okay. That'll be okay. As directors do with us. And then she got to the cutting room, and every single time she went, oh my God, Charles was right. He was right. Oh my God, he was just trying to help me. And she like took him to New York for 2 days in New York. And that's how he got his IATSE 161 membership, because like that was the deal for him working in New York. Nick is saying you're interested in the comedy script writing program. Yeah, if you're watching on, you're on LinkedIn. I think I have a link in bio on LinkedIn too, but if I don't, go to my YouTube channel, which is called Shtick to Script. SEHTICKTO script. It's also in my LinkedIn, I think. If you click on it, look for the TV one is called From Shtick to Script, and the feature one is called Make 'em Laugh for 90 minutes. But you can email me. I think on both of those, there's an email where we can set up a Zoom and you can ask me any questions. I also have a video on my YouTube channel called Behind the Scenes of my, or what happens in my comedy writing programs. And I'll explain the whole thing, because it's a whole universe. It's a whole universe with like the training, the idea jams, future writers' rooms. I know we've got mostly script supervisors here, but for anyone who's watching this as one of my writers, I'm doing a new course, a new version of Writers' Room this fall called the Development Room. And I've just thought about it because for years people have been like, can't I work with you to develop my script? but they can't afford to hire me as a story editor through the union, which is normally how you would work with me. The only other way is to go through my program and then work with me in writer's room to develop your script as like level 2 of the program. But some people feel like they're so advanced as comedy writers that they don't even want to do the training. They just want me to develop their script with them, but they're not a producer or a production company, so they can't pay the union rates. So I'm thinking of debuting a new thing called the development room, and that'll be for anyone, meaning like whether you've trained with me or not as a writer. I'll only take up to 8 projects at a time. That's all I can handle because everyone gets half an hour of time each. That's a 4-hour class. So yeah, definitely email me. I'll run through all your options. But honestly, the comedy writing program, many people have told me how life-changing it has been. I know the TV writing one certainly, because it's launched TV writing careers. I have right now at the top of my writing playlist on YouTube an interview I did a few years ago with some of my alumni who launched careers in Canada. It's called the Canadian Comedy Writers Roundtable. But I have students in the UK. I have students in like 7 countries in that program. UK, New Zealand, US, Canada, Australia, Barbados, and what was the other country? It was another English speaker. Oh, Ireland, of course. Hi, Fritz Lounge. Hi, Doug. Hi, Inks and Diaries. Oh, Inks and Diaries is one of my students. I can't think of who it is. But anyway, hello. So back to Molly's original question. I told you it was a big, when Molly asked it in Don Gilliam's interview, I was like, that's a long answer. So it's a combination of doing your research, knowing like of all the projects on your list. Now, I did hear that in LA, they don't really publish the list of what's shooting, which I think is kind of bonkers. Can you guys get your, if that's true, and maybe it's false, but someone told me that and I thought that's bonkers. How are people supposed to know what's a union job, what's not, and what jobs they can go for? Ask your executive to please make a production list of what is shooting, what has been signed with the union. Can anybody, Karen, you're an 87, no, you're not an 87. Anyone who's an 871, well, which includes Molly, do they give you a list of what's shooting? Because if they do, what I like to do is do some research. I know they have a lot of code names, but if there's a name of like a producer who's attached or not, I'm quick to the IMDb Pro. I use my IMDb Pro to see, okay, who's producing, or I'll Google the trades like Variety or Hollywood Reporter, or depending on what country you're in, the trades in your country, to find out as much information I can about all the projects that are coming. Because I personally, even at this level, I'm not going to wait around for the phone to ring. If there's a project that I find interesting, I am going to apply. So the project I'm on is a case in point. The project I'm on is a Netflix limited series, and I was in Italy enjoying my life. Eddie saw me enjoying my life in the UK shortly before then. And of course, I looked on the production list. Of course, I had to come back for other reasons. My mother was sick. Of course, I wanted to come back. You have to pay for access to a list of your own union's productions. Isn't there something wrong with that? We have to know what productions are. Okay, the thing is, I know it's a little different. In California, you're allowed to work non-union. In Ontario, if we're a union member, we are not allowed to work non-union. So we absolutely need to know what is a union job and what is not a union job, so that we don't go and apply for non-union jobs, right? I also pay to have access to Production Bulletin. Okay, great. Is Production Bulletin the big international one? There's a big international one that some of my A-listers are on, and it tells you what's shooting all over the world, and it gives you, so that's a good idea, Molly. That's great. So it's not like subscribing to it will get you the A-list jobs, but you can do that research. You can say, okay, what's shooting in Los Angeles? And obviously, if there's a certain level of, well, not even obviously, there's some non-union directors who are A-listers and sometimes shoot non-union. That's happened twice in Ontario in the past month, where some of my students who are brand new and not in the union got interviews for those jobs with A-list directors. It happens sometimes, but usually you can tell the lists don't specify union or non, yes, globally. Okay, great. I'm glad you're on that one. That one has been very interesting for my A-listers, for the people in my coaching group. So just to quickly reiterate what A-listers is. It's a coaching group to help you break through to the next level in your script career. And I had 9 people in this cohort with all different goals, but a lot of them had goals to work on bigger projects. And so they got together and subscribed to the same one that I think you're talking about, Production Bulletin. And, sometimes we have goals of working in a specific country. So if you're American and you want to work in the UK or Spain or France, or if you're in France and you want to work in Canada, like there's all different combinations. By the way, I'm putting together it's AI generated research. So you need to go deeper than what the AI says about all the kind of elements you'll need to get a work visa in those countries. That's going into the film work playbook. But just know, I don't want you to limit yourself to your local city or even your local country, because our job travels. It's an international job. I do talk about it on a specific video on my YouTube channel. It's got, like, I can't remember what I called it, Working Internationally as a Script Supervisor. And then there was an older one called Script Supervision Without Borders. They're sort of, one was an evolution of the last one. And I didn't talk about like the ChatGPT aspect of it, right? You can use ChatGPT to find work both locally, nationally, and internationally, but you need to really like keep reprompting it, because it comes up with a lot of things that are non sequiturs. So I would actually, for the 871 people, listen, to be honest, I would say get together and ask your local to give you a damn production list. I find that shocking. I find that shocking that you guys have to like spend money to find a list of what is covered by your union local. I would assume 161 gets the list like we do in Toronto, even though in New York you can also work non-union, but most people choose not to. I mean, my God, I find that shocking. We're IATSE members. These are signatory contracts. I'm also an ACTRA union member. In the Writers Guild, I'm in the Writers Guild of Canada. They don't publish lists because there's so many like little deals and big deals. I get that. But when it comes to a major motion picture shooting in your city or in your local, and you're a union member, sorry, I'm ranting about this, but I find it rather shocking. Okay. So, if you don't have access to a list of what's shooting through your union, there should be a list through your city. There's a film commission in most major film production cities. So does Los Angeles Film Commission have a list of what's shooting? Toronto does, New York does, even some of the smaller states like in Montana. And I think, Molly, in the Montana local, they do post what's shooting because there's so few. If it's not on the union webpage, it's on the film commission for the state. They like to show sort of what productions are coming, what has been done in the state, because they're trying to sell producers on shooting in the state, right? So there tends to be information about both the project, the log line. Oh my God, I hope, by the way, it says I've got 13% on Instagram and we've got 19 minutes left. If my phone dies on Instagram, I'm super sorry. You can catch the rest of it on my YouTube channel. I'm pointing over here to my laptop where I'm on YouTube, or my LinkedIn, but hopefully we'll make it right to the end. But yes, so Molly, use whatever resources you have, whether it's IMDb Pro, whether it's your union shooting list, whether it's your film commission shooting list, whether it's your film bulletin membership. Listen, some of the paid services are terrible, but I think Production Bulletin is actually really good. Use those to do the research. So when I was in Italy, I happened to look on our production list and I looked at all the productions and I was like, oh, what is this? What is this mini series? Which is the one I'm working on now. And I looked on the trades for every single thing that was sort of on our board, which was, I think at the time, maybe 12 projects. It wasn't a lot at the time. Now it's like exploded. And I went, oh my God, I'm really interested in that. As a comedy writer, as someone who loves working on performance-driven series, it is really important to me to work on good quality shows that get attention. Like I've picked, and I brag about this because I also think it's kind of hilarious. I have worked on so many Netflix #1 shows. I mean, literal, like, oh, we're #1. And it's like, how is it that nearly every single Netflix project I've ever done goes to #1? And I was like, this just underlines the fact that, and it was funny. I used it as a bargaining point. I was on a movie that I was really happy to work on, but they were working at lower tier rates. This was this was in January, February, March. It was like, it's going to be great, by the way. I don't know what the release title will be, but it stars Alicia Silverstone. It's a Christmas movie. Oliver Hudson. Oh my God. So funny. And they were negotiating with me and they're like, well, this is not going to be your rate. And I went, okay, but you understand that like every Netflix movie I've worked on and TV show has hit #1. So maybe you want to ask Netflix for special permission to pay my rate. Because, I don't know if it's true or not, by the way. I don't know if it's like coming from the studio and network when they say we won't pay your rate, or if it's coming from the producer. But I always say, oh, just remind them of how many #1 hits I have on my resume from their show. And like they turned around 10 minutes later and said, oh yeah, no problem for your rate. So, which is way above scale. So not that, I teach negotiation too, but like I used to be the worst negotiator, but now I'm not afraid to say like, hey, okay, but there's a reason I'm more expensive. I mean, listen, I fully believe that everyone that I personally have trained, and I know people that even that I haven't trained are really, really exceptional. Like they have a high standard for this job. So I have no qualms about saying that we are worth it, that most of us, if we're doing our job, all of us, if we're doing our job to the fullest capacity, it's a very intense job. Hi, Dania. It's a very intense job. And if we're doing it to our best ability, we deserve so much more than scale. But anyway, I'm glad I teach negotiation because I have students who are making way more money than I was at their age because they know how to negotiate. And that's on me. That was on me being really shy and not knowing my worth. And Molly, that is the next answer to this long answer to your question. How do I get on the A-list jobs? You need to believe that you deserve them. And you probably do. I don't know you. You're not one of my students, but I would say you probably need, as most of us do, that mindset shift where we're like, you know what? I know how to do this job. I am sought after, and I deserve to at least interview for those A-list jobs. And that is sometimes that is the hardest part. I know this from coaching my A-listers in that. So yeah, sorry, I interrupted myself again. You guys, those who tune into the Power Hour know I'll interrupt myself 5 times all the time. But it is like the A-listers is 5 weeks of coaching, and I'm not beyond I teach manifestation, mindset. I teach networking, and I teach these job search strategies, which are going to be partly covered by that little mini course I'm going to be offering. Hopefully I'll get it done in August, and you guys will be the first to know. If you're on my mailing list, you'll be the first to know. There's a link in my bio if you want to voluntarily join my mailing list. Absolutely. And there's my email address on so many of the links that you'll find in my bio. So, but anyway, it's 5 weeks of like literal job search strategies, networking, also the rules internationally from what I could, in my limited research. I'm not a lawyer, but there's certain rules we have to follow to work in other countries. But I find that mindset is the biggest one. So, even if part of you subconsciously is blocking yourself from going for those bigger shows, that's on you. Like it was on me for so many years. And I told the story in the interview with Don Gilliam. So if you didn't see my interview with Don Gilliam, check out the story I told about leaving. I almost said the name of the show, about leaving a show when I realized they weren't valuing me, literally and figuratively even, it felt like, although in retrospect, a lot of people were like, it was like really big when you left the show. But value your crew. If you're a producer watching this, value your crew. Like your crew, oh my God, especially in television, when you have a script, when you're a script supervisor on a TV series. Today I got a time 4 scripts, like because of all the script revisions on the show I'm on. Please, and this is Sunday, please value your crew if you're a producer. But just even if they don't feel, even if they perceive that they're not valued, and if you're not literally valuing them, if you see that story, I don't want to repeat it again. It was very, very heartbreaking, but very, very important time in my career. It's why I teach negotiation. It's why I teach career strategy. I've been teaching the craft for much longer than that, but it's why I started to incorporate all those lessons into it, because it's part of having longevity and like a satisfying career is, and Molly, so what I ask my A-listers and what I would ask you to ask yourself is what does it mean to me to work on the bigger projects? Do you mean bigger budget? Do you mean working with the directors you want to work with? Do you mean television? Do you mean feature film? So ask yourself all these questions and start to have a strategy for networking with the kinds of people and doing the research on the kinds of shows that are coming. Hi, Janie. I love Janie. I know Janie knows I love her. If you see my video of the UK brunch, we're waving together. Janie, how's it going? I hope you have work. I hope you have a gig, but let us know if you have any hallelujahs. Yes. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So ask yourself that. It's not like a vision board. I don't do vision boards in my kind of manifestation, but I do think about where I want to be in, even this year, in 5 years, but certainly this year, in the year ahead. That's why I like to open up the A-lister program in November, because we do 5 weeks of training in all those areas. And then we do monthly coaching, like small group coaching for a year, where we meet on a Zoom call, and it's small group, no more than 20 people. Yay! Janie just wrapped on a short. It went really well, and the director loved me. The director loved me is a big part of the equation, especially when you're on a short. If that director then goes to features or TV and they can ask for you. I'm so happy to hear that. Oh yeah, because Janie was on a different shoot where they were not doing, not listening to hers, but before. I know. So that's a double hallelujah for Janie in London. Yes, good. Oh, keep sending me your hallelujahs, by the way. I know there are more that I haven't said. I just can't remember what I said last week in our private live and what is new, but people are working. It's great. I haven't heard back from Karen. So we had Karen in one of my A-listers in Connecticut, went and did a feature in Buffalo. And then someone on that feature said, can you do my short in Long Island? So she went to Long Island to do the short. And from that, she got an interview with a very big director for a comedy. So whether, I don't know if she got the gig. Oh, it was for a comedy shooting in Jersey. And so because it was shooting in Jersey and she's not a Jersey local, I told her not to count on getting that, because even though she had a great interview, because the tax credit is so good in Jersey. If someone asked me, what would you do if you're American right now? Where would you live? And I said, New Jersey. Not because I particularly like New Jersey, though it's not bad, but because that is the most advantageous tax credit right now. It's not the highest tax credit, but they've got great new studios. It's in proximity to New York. Anyway, I'm always like strategizing. And not that I would be unhappy in New Jersey. I love New York, so I could see New York from there. So anyway, I interrupted myself. Yeah, and Montana is so... Molly says, took years for me to get there, but yes, I am there. I can't remember what I said. I guess like there, like as in you're someone that's known, you're someone that's established. So do you know? Yeah, like you don't have to tell me now, but this is something I will ask you. Molly's interviewing for my A-listers program, so I will ask you that in our preliminary interview, is to think about like where you want to be in the year ahead, because we're all about setting goals and hitting them in the year ahead. So there's the monthly coaching, and then you get 3 hours of one-on-one coaching with me throughout the year. And some people booked it at like very specific times. Like I always like to have an initial one with you on goal setting, and there's a coaching thing I do. It's really someone like one of my business coaches did it on me, it was a very eye-opening exercise to sort of help you find out what you're all about, like what motivates you specifically as a human being. And he did that with me in business. And the essence of it was more love. Like he narrowed it down to 2 words, more love. It was so incredible, because that is so true about me. Like he interviewed me about my likes and my dislikes and like just so many things. It was like an hour of like 100 questions. And then he went, more love. I want you to put that on a sticky note and post those sticky notes all over your house, which I haven't really done. But I always think when I'm stuck, because when you don't know what to do next, figure out what would bring you more love in your business. And so for me, that's sometimes doing like a lot of I love doing videos, and I love spreading like the love, like the which I know Dawn does as well. Because when we were talking last week, she said, make sure let's elevate the profession. Let's give what we can, you know? So yeah, more love. And there's other reasons that applies, but like that is such a theme in my life, and everyone's different. Everyone's going to have a different. So the first like private 1 hour that my A-listers do with me, we do that, and we figure out what is it, your ish, like your why. It's your why. Like, what is your why as a script supervisor? That's going to help you make choices about when you have multiple projects coming to you, or about finding the projects you want to work on, or about deciding where to live. I have one of my A-listers who moved during the year. She still goes back and forth to LA, but like it was just like, yeah, sometimes that's part of your happiness, right? So think about that. For mentality and worth. Oh, yes, that's a big one. But you're at a place, Molly, where you're like, I know my worth. I know my shit. Sorry, is YouTube going to beep that? I know my why. I know what I like. And I know my worth. So now how do I go get that? How do I go get it? So as Dawn said, just apply. Well, first you have to find out what is shooting, and it doesn't have to be in where you live. I mean, although you have multiple places where you could apply, like there's often, well, sometimes, not often, but sometimes there's big movies shooting in Montana, less so in Oregon and Washington, but occasionally it'll happen. So you want to position yourself to be able to apply for them. Certainly in LA, you have big movies. Hopefully you'll get more in the year ahead. But yes, and they don't only, like often, Molly, have you worked in Atlanta yet? A lot of my American students do go to Atlanta, even if they're not based in Atlanta, but that's another state you'll find yourself working. Although I heard it's slow right now. I'm sad to hear that. I had my Atlanta meetup last September. It was so fun. So that is a long-winded answer to the question. It's a multifaceted thing, but you got to know your worth. You got to do your research. You got to actually go after the jobs. What I was saying was, when I was in Italy and I saw that the project I'm on right now was shooting, I emailed them and said, listen, I'm very interested in your project. I would love to read the script. If we can negotiate a deal, I'd be so interested. I'll come back I'm in Italy, but I'll come back early. And they said there was no one else interviewed. Like they only wanted to interview you. So I was like, okay. I mean, it took them a while to get back to me on my rate, but it was all good. We agreed. Not yet. No. Okay, Molly. But yes, you'll get there. It is just a matter of time and strategy and, manifestation. I believe in it. Without sounding too woo-woo, I became woo-woo when I went into business. When I started my online business in 2020, I had met with all these people who were really nice, online entrepreneurs. And I had to get over the mental block of, people who make money are not nice people. The biggest block for someone like me who grew up poor was that for me. And a lot of my students, actually, because I train people in how to make money from their social media as well. I only train people in things that I know about. That's one of the things I know about. And so for me, that was the biggest thing to get over in my online business stuff is mindset. I had been way underpricing. If you guys know what I was charging people to fully train as script supervisors, and so many of those people became directors here in Canada. If you guys knew what I was charging them, you would go, Daniela, what is wrong with you? Like, it was really, really not a lot, because I was focused on giving people access to the business. And it's not that like I'm even I still have the lowest price, comprehensive course, but not by much now. It used to be like by a lot. And I got a lot of flack for it. And I went, yeah, what is wrong with me? Do I not know my own worth as a teacher? So yeah, no, I have like a super long track record. One of the longest track records in the world for training script supervisors, right? So 30 years. I've been training people. This is my 30-year anniversary of training script supervisors. And it took me a long time just to charge what I charge, which is what I make on set in just over a day. And what most people make on set in 2 days. So it's very like hilarious to think of it. And now I think I'm actually charging my worth, and people still think I'm crazy. They're like, why isn't your program $5,000 like most people charge? Not to not to this is not a sales pitch. These are the conversations I have about my worth with my fellow business, online business entrepreneurs, and they're not wrong, but I'm happy right now. I know I keep saying I'm going to reshoot the whole program and charge more for it, and that day will come, but it's not going to be 5,000. I'll probably just take it up to 2,000 when I do that, just because it's very expensive to reshoot the program, because I'll have oh, Janie, I'm so happy that happened. Janie, do you have a feature lined up? Janie, you're at the stage where you need to do a feature. Corinne, I know you are at that stage too. And I think, have you done one since we last spoke? Because I know it's been a bad, crazy year in California. So I understand if you haven't, but like, there's a lot of people here that are ready for that. Oh, we've got 2 minutes. Any hallelujahs, any frustrations, any last questions before I log out? Instagram tends to sometimes kick me out at the 1 hour mark. My phone will die soon anyway there, but I'm happy to stay on a bit longer on YouTube. It won't kick me out, but any last questions, any hallelujahs, any frustrations? Is anyone still really frustrated about work? Alexia, oh. Alexia is so nice. She has one of the funniest, if you watch my testimonial videos, Alexia's in New Zealand, and hers is so, I love your video because she's such a character. You're gold. Thank you so much. I'm so glad the internet brought you to my life. Thank you for always being so encouraging. You're inspiring. I'll get back on the phone today and hustle. Some of my A-listers, you know what they do? And I liked it. One of them got advice to do 5 things for their career every day, like little things, right? Like you don't have to do a million, you don't have to do big things, but reaching out to a person, catching up with a producer you've worked with and love, researching what big films are coming to town. I thought that was a good mindset to adapt. Janie, I'm waiting on my first feature. The producer I just worked with said they have one coming up. Oh, next year. I hope you get one before next year. It's like still July. I had to look at the date. I'm so like bamboozled with like, what day is it? Because I'm in the middle of this mini series. Oh my God, it's so good, you guys. I can't wait till you guys see it. It's Rachel Weisz, Leo Woodall, and John Slattery. So good. Rachel's killing it. Thanks, Karen. Thanks, everybody. Oh, it's 5 o'clock. Okay. Reach out. I know that when I'm on set, I'll write you back to say I'm on set. I'll have to get back to you at a later date. But definitely reach out if you have questions. There's lots of resources on my YouTube channel about all of this stuff. And I have a little bit of a break in August, so I hope to finally record the Film Work Playbook and the Director Whispers. Those are my people who are in my main program. They get access to everything I've ever done. So they'll get access to that when it's, but everyone else, it'll be $97 US. And then what else? Hang in there. If you're someone who is not working yet and you're feeling really lost, remember that there's film shooting somewhere. So do try to like, figure out how to get there if it's not in your town, but also hang in there. Diversification is a very big aspect to even I have to diversify. I mean, teaching became my biggest way to diversify, even if I was undercharging for it at the time, like by a lot. I used to take gigs in between films that would allow me to just leave at the drop of a hat. I know that, most of the industry is back, but some of the industry is not. And I do feel for you guys. I do wish that the work returns at least to, if not 100% levels, as close to that as possible in California. We think about you guys often. I've been watching the Crude Up, CRUDE Up. They've been posting because there's an IATSE convention in Hawaii, and they were saying that there's a lot of issues happening, and it stung that the delegates were meeting in Hawaii. And anyway, I hope that something really positive comes out of the IATSE convention. And even if you're non-union, this is a great time. I still think it's a great time to be in the film business. The film business is undergoing massive change. I'm going to have to do a talk about this, but we are in an era that I call the rise of the creator. I'm working with a first-time showrunner on my series. She's phenomenal. Of course, that's a studio show, but like creators are coming up in the indie world and just making strong, like strong new voices are happening, and they're being heard and seen. And this is an exciting time. I know it means the union structures will change, the wage structures will change, the way that our crews are composed will change. Obviously, I mean, you know that I feel this strongly about this. We are going to be one of the last. People think we're going to be one of the first positions to be cut because some directors choose not to work with a script supervisor. But like people at the, at the highest levels, and even the ones at the lowest levels who start to get educated about how we save producers money and how we help directors do their best work, they realize, more and more people have been realizing how integral we are to the process. We're going to be one of the last positions to be cut in this new kind of world with AR walls. We have to do a video about that as well. The VR walls and everything, they still use us in those shows, and it's I'm going to do a panel with some of my students who have done work with VR walls. There's so many new things in the industry happening quickly. It is still, I stand by that, it is still a great time to be in the film business. It's a confusing time because we've lost a lot of our brain trust. We've lost a lot of people who just had to endure these last few years, kind of got them out of the business, got them to early retirement, or just got them to go, you know what, there's other things in life. I get it. But cinema is still one of my passions. It's still a noble profession, I think. So figure out, I guess the underlying message for today's Power Hour is figure out why you're in it. Why are you in it, or why would you like to be in it? And then create a strategy that lets you survive and thrive. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll do another public facing one probably in September, if not sooner. But we'll be back to our regular class weekly live Q&A if you're in my Director Whisperer. Oh yeah, if you don't know, let me just put up the link. If you don't know how to join my Director Whisper program, it's bit.ly/script supervisor. Just look around on my YouTube channel. There's lots of free information as well. Thank you for taking the time. And please do send me your questions. Whether you're one of my students or not, I will answer it either by creating a video or just in the next Power Hour. Bye. Oh, I turned off Instagram, but you guys are still watching. Here we go. Bye.